In today's video, I'm going to be going through the full process of swapping the fork on my mountain bike. The bike comes stock with a Suntour XCM32 coil fork that has a lockout and rebound adjustment feature. The reason for this upgrade is that the fork is quite heavy and harsh riding, and here's a drop test to show you what I mean. You can see that after this one small drop, the bike bounces 2 or 3 times after hitting the ground, and when I press down on the fork, it takes a lot of pressure to make it compress. So let's get started removing it from the bike. The process starts by taking off all of the components from the fork. This starts with loosening and removing the front wheel, then loosening and fully removing the front brake caliper and bolts, loosening and freeing the cable from its holder, and finally removing the top cap and stem. With everything loose, I can now wiggle the stem up and off the top of the steer tube, and the fork will be free to come off the bike. Because I'm reusing this headset, I also need to remove the crown race from the fork and swap it to the new one. This is essentially the mating surface between the fork and the lower bearing. In my case, I have a split ring design which only requires a little bit of prying to remove it, but if you happen to have a press fit design, it will require a race removal tool to get this off. With the fork now fully stripped down, let's put this Suntour up on the scale. And no wonder my bike felt heavy. This fork weighs in at 6.8 pounds. So let's now take a look at the fork I'll be upgrading to. This is a mid-level RockShox Recon that I found on sale for just over $100 new. The new fork comes with a much longer steer tube than necessary, so I'm going to cut it down to match the Suntour before measuring the weight. Now there's a few ways to cut an aluminum steer tube, but in this case I'm using my vise, a guide, and a hacksaw to make the cut. In my workshop, I'm usually cutting carbon steer tubes, so the blade I have is a 24 TPI bimetal blade. But for aluminum steer tubes, there's a variety of blade types that should be fine. After the extra steer tube is cut off, the next step is to smooth the edges of the cut. I'm using this deburring tool from my plumbing kit to get the inside edge, and then using a file to smooth the outer edge. You shouldn't be able to feel any rough edges or sharp bits of metal after doing the deburring. Next, I can put the crown race onto the fork, and I'm coating both surfaces with grease to help with assembly and also future maintenance. And again, if you have a press fit design for your crown race, you're going to need a special tool to install this. And finally, one more thing before we weigh the new fork, I need to install a star nut inside the steer tube. This just gets hammered down into the steer tube, and I'm using this simple guide tool to ensure I hammer the star nut straight and accurately. It does take some strong hammering force to get the star nut into position, and the star nut should be hammered down until it's about 1 to 2 centimeters below the top of the steer tube. So with the fork cut, the star nut installed, let's put this on the scale and see what kind of weight we're saving. Just as a reminder, the old fork weighed in at 6.8 pounds, and when I weighed this one on the scale, it came in at 5.07 pounds. So let's get this RockShox onto the bike. To prepare the bike for the new fork, I'm taking out both the upper and lower headset bearings and giving them a good cleaning. If your bearings were very rough or dirty, now would be a great time to replace them. Mine still felt pretty smooth, so I'm just doing an external wipe and then coating them in grease. The idea behind the external grease coating is to help prevent water or dirt getting inside the bearings and also protect against corrosion between the bearing and frame. With all of the surfaces now cleaned and greased, the new fork can go onto the bike. This bike uses a tapered headset design, so the lower bearing is bigger than the upper bearing. I'm not changing my position at all, so I'm simply stacking the spacers and stem onto the steer tube in the same order as before. Once that's done, I can lift up the bike and get to work on the front brake. Just like the old fork, the new one uses the same post-mount style for the brake attachment, so I'm simply just reattaching the brake. I left the caliper bolts a little loose and installed the front wheel so I can align the caliper and rotor. You can see when I spin the wheel here, there's a lot of rotor rub due to misalignment. So to get them to line up, I'm using this thin metal shim over the rotor, rotating it between the pads, then squeezing and holding the front brake while tightening the caliper bolts. The wheel is now spinning much more freely than before. The RockShox also has an air canister that can be pumped to the proper PSI for my weight. There's a chart on the fork leg with the proper PSI and weight ranges to help you get the correct pressure. And to avoid any air leakage when unthreading the pump, unthread the top section first before loosening the lower. The final step is to get the bike on the ground and line up the handlebars. I just do this by eye from in front of the bike, and once happy with the alignment, I tighten down the top cap and then the stem bolts to the required torque. So let's see how the new fork performs. As a reminder, here's the drop test from the original Suntour fork. And now here's a drop test from the upgraded RockShox. The new fork absorbs the shock a lot better. The new fork is also much more supple and doesn't have that stiff feeling when pushing it down like with the Suntour. So overall, for just over $100, this is a fairly simple and easy way to upgrade your mountain bike suspension.